So I'm on board, I'm headed to LA. It's been a little while, so I'm kind of excited to just get out there in dry weather because the humidity in New York today is ridiculous. I'm Marsha and welcome to my channel. It's around 5:45. I just arrived into LAX. My flight left a little late from JFK, but I'm in the club right now. I need to get a drink before I head into traffic, into this crazy LA rush hour. But I honestly should have left earlier from New York this morning, but I had a lot of stuff to do. So I'm out of LAX. I took the flyaway bus for $9.75 at LAX and got dropped off at Union Station. And from Union Station, I got on the red line on the Metro for $1.75, but I had to buy a $2 card, so it was $3.75, and got out at Hollywood Highland. And here I am. I walked through the Walk of Fame, as you saw, and now I'm going to be heading into the famous TCL Chinese Theatre.
All right.
And guess what? I'm watching Crazy Rich Asians tonight.
Oh.
So I did my version of being a crazy rich Asian and flew from JFK to LAX to watch this because tonight is the last night. It's going to be played at this theater at the last screening at 10:20 p.m. The opening release of the film, my brother messaged me and other friends in New York messaged me when I was in Amsterdam, so I'm finally going to see this properly and give you my first impressions. Well, technically second impressions, more on that later. But yeah, I cannot believe it's been 25 years since there's been an all Asian cast. Like how? Asians like dominate the world. Like I know we're not underrepresented, but we are on camera, especially in Hollywood, because there's an issue of tokenism. Like God forbid you can have more than one Asian female in the same age range, no way. So yeah, since 1993 of the Joy Luck Club, this film has emerged. So I'm super excited that this film has been produced off of this popular book that Kevin Kwan wrote, who's a Singaporean who moved to Texas later on. And John M. Chu's the director, who's a famous Chinese-American cinematographer director. So this is awesome. And in fact, there is one character on this film who plays the grandmother, Alma. She was also in the Joy Luck Club, so I think that's pretty amazing. I'll see you later as I head into this amazing, iconic theater. I'm inside the theater. It's pretty cool. When I went to the Ticketmaster, to the gentleman downstairs, I was like, I'm super excited to see it. Is it packed? Is it sold out? He said that it rarely sells out here. So I'm like one of the 4 people who are watching it tonight on this last screening on Thursday night. So I can sit anywhere, to be honest. This theater is very emblematic of Chinese heritage with the decor. Super cool. I'll show you some images of it. And yeah, it was $16, so it's not that much different from New York prices. I'm excited to see this. I mean, this is where they had the premiere as well, so of course for a premiere it's gonna sell out. But on an average night, I guess this theater is not so popular going in to see the movie. This theater is like so empty right now. There's only like 4 people. There's only 5 of us in this entire theater. Okay. Happy Friday from Hollywood. I am sitting on the famed Dolby Theater stairwell, which is adjacent to the TCL Chinese Theatre. First impressions of Crazy Rich Asians, but I must make a confession. Second impression. I already watched this film on Sunday with my mother in Minnesota during Labor Day weekend, and she loved it as well because she was like, oh, it's an all Asian cast. I'm like, yeah, mother. So I had to give her the whole spiel. We enjoyed it together. It was only $6.75 in Minnesota. Here, $16. Oh my God! But this film is a big deal because why? It's an all-Asian cast. Yes, I know that, but it is basically our Black Panther. When Black Panther came out, it was monumental for black folk, like this is for Asians. So, although Crazy Rich Asians, actually only portrays, a certain group of Asians in China, Singapore, Hong Kong region, Malaysia. It doesn't represent all Asians, clearly, but it's still a wonderful film. I'm gonna go into it more, but regarding Black Panther again, they were actually criticized for not representing the LGBTQ pansexual community. Like, how can they represent everyone? How can every film represent everyone? Like, there's been such a void of Asians for years in film, so shut up. At least Crazy Rich Asians had one Gaysian played by a Filipino actor by the name of Nico Santos, played Oliver, and I'm actually surprised they cast a Filipino actor instead of like a Gaysian Chinese actor, because I feel like I know plenty of those in New York and there's plenty probably in LA. Let's get into the film, shall we? So a friend asked me, why weren't you in Crazy Rich Asians? And I said, I don't know. I said, I actually had this opportunity to send in a self-tape audition, which I saw November 2016, and it was a worldwide casting, which was awesome, that it was open to everyone who could be suitable for the breakdowns. December 2016, I see the breakdowns again, and Rachel Chu was cast with Constance Wu, so she was established, no one else was established. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it sounds like the director John M. Chu, this is based in Singapore, and he wants these authentic dialects of Singlish, Singaporean dialect, Malay, Chinese, some American, which I don't fit most of them. The only thing I could just, maybe contribute is British English, and I understand why Henry Golding and Gemma Chan were cast as Nick and Oyster. These are very specific dialects that they needed, and to be honest, I could have maybe tried for a supporting role, but everyone was pretty much Chinese except for Ken Jeong, but he's famous. He's a character type, and he played Wai Mung Go, Awkwafina's father, in the film. And I believe Awkwafina is actually half Chinese, half Korean, from what I read. I'm not really sure. And Jamie Chung, who's a very established Korean-American actress, even expressed interest, and she wasn't able to be cast in John M. Chu's film. And it had nothing personal to do with her, but he was looking for something very specific. Speaking of dialects, going back to Black Panther, Pita Nyong'o, who's an award-winning actress, I wish she practiced Korean way more because her Korean was terrible in Black Panther.
나이로 비해서는 진도들이 부자예요.
At least Meryl Streep nailed her Polish language and dialect for Sophie's Choice. She was brilliant.
Nie chcę być w to wmieszana.
I digress. So going back to Crazy Rich Asians, this is why I'm not in it. I would love to be in it, and I had the opportunity to audition, but done and done. So earlier you saw me on the Dolby Theater stairs. That was 1:30 in the morning. The film ended at 12:30. Now it's 4 in the morning. I mean, I'm gonna be heading back to LAX soon, but my sleep is seriously so messed up right now. New York is 3 hours ahead of California, so it is 7 a.m. in New York. I want to go over the casting. Did you like Henry Golding as Nick Young? Henry is a great actor. This is his major breakout role, but I honestly think if I saw a full Asian leading man this time, would have given me more validity that 100% Asian men can be leading sex symbol type, have those type of roles, And I'm not saying that Henry couldn't play this. He had the British accent, which is what they needed, but he at least looks more Asian than white because he is half Malay. But the guy that played his best friend, Cullen, who's getting married, Chris Pang, I think he could have played Nick Young. He was handsome, he's tall, he's got a leading man aura about him. So this is my opinion, to be honest, but what do I know? I'm not casting. So I would have liked to have seen someone like Chris Pang play the lead role. And he could have like just worked on a British accent. Why not? Fake it till you make it. Rachel Chu I thought was great. I love Constance Wu. I think she's fantastic. The lineup of everyone, I'm not gonna go through everyone, but Awkwafina, amazing comedian. I love her voice. Like, you can't emulate or imitate that raspiness except for Patty and Selma on The Simpsons.
Help us, you fat yuts.
The only time I think I could have sounded like Awkwafina is when I had laryngitis and I recorded a voiceover on a commercial for Bentley. So this is like my personal project I did.
A statement, a fusion of extremes. Speak your mind with a whisper.
But that's the only time where I sounded semi-raspy.
The new Bentley Flying Spur.
She's amazing, and I actually did some background work on her Untitled pilot that she had like in the summer with a bunch of other Asians in a restaurant scene. So it was cool to work with her on that, and she got her own pilot. I hope it gets picked up. Yeah, she's a New York girl, so that was really cool. She's from Queens. Ken Jeong, I'm always giving glowing accolades to him because he's so hilarious and he's Korean, which I like about him. And Michelle Yeoh, oh my god, she played the best dragon lady.
You will never be enough.
Oh, she's so legendary. I just loved her character, and she looks so amazing, and just her body is still very, very like elegant and fit, like when she was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Property is closed.
This is public property.
Public property. This is private property.
Can I finish my video really quick?
You have to leave. I told you to downstairs.
That was
I got you.
inside. I'm
Not
outside now.
period.
Okay, but let me quick finish because I'm almost done.
You gotta go. I mean, you gotta
And-
go, 'cause they cannot do their work.
Nico Santos was
Let's go.
played by a Filipino actor,
Let's go, ma'am.
and he.
You're not cooperating.
I just have to finish this.
Listen. This is.
I'm listening to you, but I'm.
We need you to leave.
Okay, but I just have like a couple more minutes to record. Okay.
They want you to leave the property
So
right now, ma'am.
Nico Santos was played by like a Filipino.
LAPD then, which is
That's
the
that's fine because I'm flying back to New York anyway.
Okay. Well, you won't be going to New York if they arrest you.
No.
I mean, but you need to leave the property because they have to. They
Okay,
have work to do.
that's fine. You can keep talking.
Yeah.
I'm just. It's a recording.
I mean, so they have work to do. You're stopping them from working. So I mean,
He
that's-
chose to stop. He's a
No.
grown adult. I'm a grown. I
No.
said, "Sir, I'm almost done," and he
No.
was like, "This crazy lady." Do you know that I'm not crazy, right? That's
Listen
a
here, listen here.
defamatory
I don't know
accusation.
what you are. I don't know
Okay.
what you are. All I know, you're on private property. I told you downstairs.
This isn't private. This
This
is
is-
like an open courtyard.
this is
There
private
should be
property.
gates, sir.
This is private property.
Well, I am almost done, and I will be
That has nothing to do
leaving.
with that.
So I have
Nothing to do
3
with
more minutes left on this.
that. Okay, then let me just go ahead and call it.
Okay. Harry Shum Jr., I wish he was like the lead role, to be honest, because he was just a cameo at the end, and apparently that's like her ex-fiance. But I think he could have been a great leading role. And then the girl who played Araminta, who marries Cullen, she's actually half Japanese and British, which I thought was, she could have been cast differently. But I get the British accent part, but her name is Sonoya Mizuno, and I saw her in another film where she's a dancer, but again, she's a Hapa as well, like Henry. So I thought it would have been more ideal if they had 100% Asian actors. And I really love Ronnie Chang because he is authentically Chinese, Malay, has an authentic accent, and
This guy.
Jimmy O Yang, who's on Silicon Valley.
Which is for burning. We don't burn trash in this country. It's illegal. Okay, can you say that? I never burn trash.
I never burn trash.
Yes.
What about garbage?
Motherfucker.
Any asshole can plan a normal stack pot. He's a goddamn mastermind.
What the hell was that? Where the did this come from?
He was hilarious because he plays this character type who is ridiculous and shows a different side of his acting range, which I thought was perfect. So other than that, I thought the casting was amazing. Everyone looked great. It was really expensive. Wardrobe was brilliant, and hopefully they'll come out with the second and third book as well. So one thing I noticed was that they didn't include like authentic Singaporean socialites, which would have been kind of cool to have in the film. Because there's one socialite by the name of Jamie Chua. She was married to this wealthy Indonesian businessman and had 2 children, and I think she even demanded a $450,000 alimony, monthly alimony at this point when they were filing for divorce. And I think she gets something like I wrote down this note, but like $350,000 a month for like not doing anything.
Oh my God!
She totally reminded me of the film, and I'm surprised she didn't make a cameo because she is authentically a Singaporean, and she met her husband at the time as a cabin crew member on Singapore Airlines. Back when she was 17, she started and met him at 20 years old. I think now she's 46. I digress. Back to the film. So I want to go back to the comment I made about the character Nick, played by Henry Golding. I had mentioned that since Henry is half Malaysian and half British, he does in fact look more Asian than white, and I know he identifies more with being Asian from what I've read and heard in articles and interviews. So that was cast, I think, appropriately, but I want to mention something pretty cool this summer. I worked on a film this summer called A Sun Is Also a Star, July 10th, and The Sun is S-U-N. It's based off of a book written by Nicola Yoon, and I play a Korean waitress in Koreatown in New York, in the scene with Charles Melton and Yara Shahidi. Charles Melton is in Riverdale and Yara is in Blackish. Charles portrays a Korean male in real life. He is half Korean and half Native American from what I read on Wikipedia, but from the mix, he looks white. I gotta be honest, he hardly looks Asian at all. His features just do not look Asian whatsoever. Basically, he speaks Korean fluently because his mother is Korean. I gotta hand it to him for that because my lines that I delivered are all in Korean. So I just wish, because it is 2018, why can't they pick someone who's exactly to that description, meaning 100% Asian Korean? There's plenty of 100% Korean American Asian acting males. I know many in New York as well. So I thought that casting was a little strange, but you know what? Acting and entertainment overall, it's all about nepotism. You favor who you know and who you want to give jobs to, and that's what it is. So I can't, hold that against anyone, because if I knew someone in casting or production or cinematography, I'm sure if they liked me, they would hook me up too. It's just about who you know, and so this is all nepotism. So that's my sentiment on Happas.
And so we've got this half Asian baby. I'm the Asian one.
And if you don't know what a Happa is half Asian.
But everyone thinks she's beautiful, but they're very racial about it when they tell us, oh, your baby's so beautiful. It must be because she's half Asian. Or half Asian babies are the most beautiful babies. It's like it's very much a compliment to her, but I think an indirect insult to me. Aww. It's like they're saying, Julie, your baby's gonna look just like you, but thankfully not too much. They're saying, Julie, you look okay, but have you considered a Caucasian filter?
So there's a few scenes that I really want to highlight. Oh my gosh, like the part when Eleanor rushes up the stairwell after they're making dumplings up to Rachel and confronts her about Nick and is like, you will never be enough.
You will never be enough.
I mean, talk about Dragon Lady moment. She basically threw Rachel under the plane out there. And then the part with the rings. Okay, so while they're making dumplings,
Grand ultimatum. You put the Botox in the face, and then you pinch, then voila.
Rachel admires Eleanor's ring, which led to that conversation on the stairwell, but the ring that Nick presented to Rachel on the plane as if she's trying to go back to New York, it's at least a 16-karat emerald-cut emerald. And it completely eclipses Eleanor's ring, which I believe is Michelle Yeoh's own ring, which is a beautiful ring regardless. And then, after that scene, when Rachel and Eleanor meet up to play Mahjong, it just breaks my heart that Rachel is like, you know what, I'm leaving Nick so that he doesn't have to have distress in the family, and then you can always remember me for being the one to bring you happiness. She and her mother, who magically appears, walk off into the sunset, well, into the daylight, arm in arm. I just love that part. But the other part right at the end, when Astrid is in this intense conversation with Michael, her husband, and basically tells him that the problem is not that he has an issue with her family's money, it's that you're a coward. You gave up on us. I just realized it's not my job to make you feel like a man. I can't make you something that you're not. I mean, those words were so great because at the end of the day, you need to make yourself happy. And she was just trying to please everyone. She doesn't want to cause a scene.
I don't want to make a scene.
You find out I'm having an affair with another woman, and you're worried about making a scene.
You'd rather I scream and carry on?
Yes. Honestly, I wish you would. It would show you care about more than what people thought of you and your family.
Make yourself happy, and life is too short to try to please everyone else. So let's talk about the stereotypes from the film. Did you think there were any?
Oh, and by the way, if you're gonna be racist, at least get your stereotypes right, you ignorant sack of
Of course there were so many, but I thought they were done well because each character was given like their own story. And you know, more of a voice than like this one-dimensional, you know, like, hey, here's the sidekick, here's the best friend. But they did it well enough that I felt like everyone was so individual because growing up in the Midwest, and I want to tell you, I was made in Minnesota, I was actually the first person born in the States from my family, which is still pretty cool. But it wasn't easy. Like, there was just lack of knowledge about diversity then, and people were ignorant. I had someone in school tell me that I was ugly multiple times, and it was so hurtful because they said that my eyes are different and that I wasn't, you know, like them, or that I couldn't fit in with them, and I didn't really know what that meant because, to be honest, I grew up in the suburbs of Minnesota outside of Minneapolis, and the only other Asian students were adopted, so they had white families and they grew up socially white. Whereas if I wanted to have diversity, I would have to go to like our Korean church and see like our Korean community, and I don't think anyone looked the same. So this guy can go F himself. The fact that he told me that Asians all look the same because we have the same eye color, we have the same hair color, and we have the same skin tone, which is completely untrue with the skin tone. And he said that white people at least have different eye color and hair color and skin tones, so they are more unique. And I was like thinking, you dumb shit. First of all, if Asians do in fact have the same hair color and eye color, which we mostly all do, that means I think God had more creativity to make us all look more unique because of this limited range of colors. So to be honest, what I learned in art class was that white is the absence of color. And it's true. Because 100 years from now, I don't even think there will be any white people because everyone will be so blended. And this is if we exist in 100 years, if this world doesn't implode. I just want to say that it was difficult growing up in the Midwest at the time. And I think people who grew up in larger cities had a different sense of community. Like, in a way, it worked for me in some ways because, like, some people were like, oh, you look like this person. Like, I got Lucy Liu all the time in Minnesota. I don't think I look a thing like her. This woman, when I worked in retail in college, she literally bought everything for me because I guess I looked exactly like Lucy Liu, so she just thought that was so cool. And going back to this guy who said disparaging remarks to me, I felt like when I was in grade school, even before these comments were made to me, I wanted to fit in. Like, everyone wants to assimilate and feel like they're accepted. I took brown Crayola markers and put freckles all over my face and my cheeks because I thought having freckles would make me feel like I could fit in. And my mother saw me do this and just like got upset. She's like, why would you put this on your face? You have nice clear skin. And she told my teacher this, and it came to the point where they had to talk because they were concerned about how I felt like I was excluded from social environments at school, and it was probably because I was excluded. Even the adopted kids hung out with each other. Like, I was the only non-adopted Asian classmate at school at the time, and that was just how it was for me in the Midwest. I've evolved since then. Like, everyone peaks differently in life. I'm not sharing this to tell you like, oh, I'm playing the world's smallest violin. I have a chip on my shoulder, but it shaped me to who I am now because my tolerance for things, it's changed, and tolerance has to turn into acceptance. Cheers to Friday. I'm at JFK now. I've literally been wearing the same makeup since yesterday when you saw me leave for LAX, and previously I was at LAX in in the club, but now I'm at a sky deck enjoying this cooler weather. So I'll see you in a moment when I get back to you about my thoughts on acting. So regarding acting, it's an endeavor that I didn't actually want to do when I was younger. I was creative, but I fell into this industry in 2011 when I met a very close friend, Khalifa, who was in film school, and from there I just evolved into the pursuit. I mean, I am a proud member of SAG-AFTRA as well, but am I going to stay in this industry? I mean, I don't have a huge desire to like make it. I mean, I shouldn't say that because I've had some successes in the industry. I've made pretty good money as well from projects, and I'll be in my first feature film, as I mentioned. My son is also a star, coming out next summer, but the pursuit is to have a purpose in life, and this purpose is that it gives me flexibility and enables me to work on other projects, cultivate some interests that I want to do with people that are important to me, and I wouldn't be able to do this if I have a corporate 9-to-5 job. So I wrote down some things like, am I going to be devastated if I don't make it? No, absolutely not. I'll stay in it as long as I can, but I will not be devastated if I don't make it in the industry. It's not always about, you know, being a successful actor, being famous. It's not even about that for me. It's just that I found some sort of range in this industry that enables me to do other things as well. I don't get a lot of range for character types. I mean, I get everything that involves full nudity. I have a role in Dietland as a BDSM porn star. I get things for dominatrix, masseuse. That was my first role in Law & Order SVU. My client was 2 Chainz. I think this was season 13. And yeah, anything that involves like nudity and partial nudity, something sexy, I always book those kind of roles because not everyone wants to do it, but I do it because the money's really good. So the only like, you know, established actor who's actually ever fully seen me nude is Clive Owen when I was in The Nick. And that was my highest level of casting I ever received. I had auditioned with Carmen Cuba, and I was auditioning for a cast member for the character of Dolores, and I was put on hold. I was waiting for an offer, but you know what? Steven Soderbergh ended up picking someone else, and they said New York-based actresses, great, but like this person was someone from Taiwan, which annoyed me because I'm like, okay, you have permits to work here, but technically you're not from New York. I'm already here. I can also speak Mandarin. Why wasn't I considered? So anyway, that was my highest level of casting back in 2013. And who knows? Let's see what happens. Because of Crazy Rich Asians, I think more things will open for Asians in general. Like the range has broadened, and I felt like the representation was so needed, especially in this modern era. And I'm hoping to see more of it, not tokenism, because that's the other issue I have. So there's 2 ultimate dream roles I would love to play one day, and one of them is Lady Deathstrike. And no offense to Kelly Hu, who played her before, because she's a hapa, but Lady Deathstrike is 100% Asian, and I can bodybuild to a superhero physique. And the second is a James Bond villainess, like hello, look at Odd Job, perfect. But you know what, I'm very grateful for having grown in this industry, and whether I'll be in it for a long time or not, you know, I'm just doing it for myself as well. So do things for yourself. Don't just do things because you think you might make money only. See a long-term growth, and that is what I'm focusing on as well. So thanks for following along. I'm going to get home, washed up and rested, but I had a great time watching Crazy Rich Asians in LA, but there's no place like New York. It is the best city in the world. So good night.